Hello my friends, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody's doing well. What is today? We're almost at the end of the week. Weekend will be here soon. I'm not going anywhere this weekend. I'm just going to do a little house cleaning, do some walking, eat some fruit, and get some work done. Already have been out. It's only about 9:30 right now. I've already been out for my walk. I'm getting quite fanatic about my walks. I'm going to do a blog post on that here real soon. I've actually got 3 blog posts, so there's going to be some stuff coming out real quick. I'm actually kind of working on developing 3 different blog posts right now, and as soon as I develop them, then I just have to write them. Developing them is the harder part, so look for that. Always, the blog is below. I always love to see people subscribing to that. But today we're going to talk about, is raw food diet healthier than cooked plant-based? I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that big red button down below. And then, actually, it's not a big red button down below. It's a big red button if you put an icon on the screen. But hit that subscribe button, then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. This one I don't even really have any bullet points today. This is just going to be kind of a free flow. I was continuing some thoughts from yesterday's video. I got asked a couple of questions on social media. Somebody made a comment that kind of stuck in my head. That was a good comment, good valid question. So I just kind of thought I would continue. You know, so there is a little bit of some of the thoughts continued from yesterday about why people fail on a raw food diet. When we start analyzing is a raw food diet healthier than a cooked plant-based diet? I don't know how to equivocate that. Is the best version of a raw food diet better than the best version of a cooked plant-based diet? I would have to say, just for my personal, I feel better when I'm eating fully raw. But there are certain foods, and I haven't dabbled enough with the cooked food in a regular way to really be able to say that, you know, positively. But most of, you know, guys, I don't get judgmental on that. And somebody had asked me, and I was thinking about another reason why people fail on this diet, and somebody had asked me about all your experts, your raw food experts out there that go back to eating cooked food, and, you know, then they have to do the big dramatic come to Jesus video about why I can't do the raw food diet, or why I'm back to eating cooked food. And then because they've put so much of who they are, their ego, everything about them into I'm raw food, then they kind of go the other way and they kind of start bashing it a little bit. So for me, like I say, I think, and I didn't mention this yesterday in why people fail on a raw food diet. I think people fail on a raw food diet. I think people fail on plant-based diets in general. And I don't know, failure is a subjective word. What does that mean? It's probably nobody's failing, because everybody that's attempting this is eating more fruits and vegetables, more whole plant-based foods than they ever did before. So, you know, failure is a relative word, but I think the reason why people fail on any of these lifestyles is because they get dogmatic about the particular version of the lifestyle they're doing, more so than the health aspect. And I think for a lot of just for a lot of people in general, but especially for a lot of your gurus and experts in the raw food world, they do anything, and that's what I've talked about, and I've had personal conversations with friends, and we go back and forth on this in friendly debate, you know, in respectful debate. But I think so many people are just doing anything so they can say I'm fully raw, to hang on to the fully raw label. And I keep going back to the nuts. It's the nuts. People are just sabotaging their health with the nuts on the raw food part of it to stay raw. I'm technically raw, even though most of those nuts aren't actually raw. Not sorry, hate to burst your bubble. And this is not going to turn into another nut one again. And let me just say one thing about nuts. People are almost religious about that. I always get a few thumbs down if you go after the nuts. Oh, I'm addicted to nuts, this and that. Accept it. And I'm not saying you should never eat any nuts. I'm not saying nuts are terrible. I'm not saying don't eat nuts in moderation. Don't use them to get for some of your fat. But you know what I'm talking about. Don't pretend you don't, or don't act like, well, you're saying it's all or nothing. No, I'm talking about the people that are scarfing nuts, that are eating nuts every day. I will go that far, whether you're scarfing them or not. You don't need nuts every day, but people are using I know some huge mega channels. If you look at some of the ones that haven't, you know, gotten off the raw, but if you look at some of the huge mega channels and really scrutinize and look at those recipes, good Lord, sometimes I'll see a half a cup of cashews in a recipe, and then there might be some other fat. So a lot of people are failing because they trying to use too much fat to stay raw, and then the health part of it doesn't come in. Listen, from day one, I told you guys, we're going to jump around a lot in this video. I told you from day one, it's always about health. And I'm sorry, if you just can't feel your body that much, well, then you haven't been clean yet. You haven't gotten to the other side. And maybe there is something to what these people say about maybe you do need to do a detox. I am open to, you know, I'm not a big detox person. I'm not a big this or, you know, the program, this or that, but I am open, you know, I'm 6 years down the road, but I am open to what a lot of people are saying. Maybe you do need to do a solid food fast before you get into this lifestyle. I don't know. I'd have to do a lot of thinking on that, because I don't know how many people are actually ready to do it. Maybe you slide into raw and then you do it, but people are just so worried about the raw thing. If you're obsessed with raw over everything else, I would say chances are you're not going to be near as healthy as you can be. And you know, and on the other side, I would say to some of you plant-based, you know, some of you that regularly eat cooked, and you eat cooked all the time, just don't stop throwing shade necessarily at the raw part of it, because I'm not throwing shade at you. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Look, the main tenets that I believe in on this plant-based diet, and I don't harp too much on the raw or the cooked or this is that. I want to get as many people to the basics as possible. Once people are doing a basic plant-based diet, a healthy plant-based diet, well, then they can decide, and people can help them if they want to get more and more raw. But you know, basically, if you're eating whole food plant-based diet, you're leaving out the oils, you're leaving out the salt, you're fairly low fat, you know, and you're getting a wide variety, and you are eating fruit and vegetables, you know, that is the main part of it. And that should always be the main part of it. And the focus should always be on your health. What makes you feel the best? How do you operate better? Don't worry about this person over there. Don't worry about being part of the club. Don't worry about, well, I can't say that I've been fully raw for 847 days. Oh, and it was at 10 o'clock on the morning of June 5th. That's some geek shit. Pardon my language. And it's not a healthy mentality. I'm eating cooked food tonight. I'm having some sweet potatoes because I've had a problem, you know, like as active as I've been keeping my weight up, but I'm going to have some plain sweet potatoes. And I don't have to be like all ashamed. I'm not hiding it. See, that's the thing. This one guy asked me, you know, like what I thought about all the, you know, raw food people that are going back to cooked, and they were always, most of them were always eating cooked. They just didn't want to tell you they were eating cooked, and they were embarrassed because they were a brand that was based around raw is law. And when you back yourself into a corner like that, whether you have a YouTube channel, whether you have a presence, or sometimes it's just people that are very active. They don't have any sort of a brand. They don't put out any content, but they're the loudest in the groups and whatever. And they have preached, and they've gotten on that bandwagon, and the ego won't let them out. The ego won't let them out. You know, they've put everything into being raw instead of everything into being healthy. My channel's always going to be about health. Now, yes, I mean, I kind of got myself niched into that too, about being a raw food person. In fact, I have people, you know, that don't watch me regularly, and they'll make a comment here on Instagram like, oh, you eat cooked food, or I saw him eat cooked food. I'm like, yeah, I've never made any bones about that. You know, I've always been I'm about health. I'm not going to stress, and I'm definitely not going to make a poor decision to stay raw instead of eating something like, for instance, I'm eating sweet potatoes tonight. I'm going to probably have like just a meal of just probably sweet potatoes and collard greens or something like that. And I'm going to eat a lot of sweet potatoes, and I will be fine. And you know what I will do after I eat those sweet potatoes? The second I get done eating those sweet potatoes, I'll brush my teeth. I'll put my shoes back on because that's my habit now if it's not raining. And I'll go out for my evening walk after dinner immediately, because the sweet potatoes they make me feel good. They don't wear me down. I know the cooked food. I know what I can eat. I know I can eat anything. I've got to my body will process stuff, but I know what I can eat within my limits that will keep me feeling like I do. I'm just working on a feeling, people. That's all I'm doing. I'm like, each time I go a notch higher and I don't eat, sometimes I'll be honest, it's just random. I'm just like, damn, I'm feeling even better these days. I've gone up a notch. And I don't question a lot of that. I just try to keep that feeling. I'm like a drug addict that smokes that crack for the first time, and you just want to maintain that high. All I'm about is maintaining that high and getting back to that high and getting as high as I can on this food. And I feel phenomenal. And a lot of these people that will preach raw is law, they don't feel phenomenal like I do. I see it. I see it in their eyes. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it by what they're saying, and they even tell you they're struggling because they're obsessed with nothing but raw. So in general, just make good, healthy decisions. Don't stress so much about this raw versus cooked, and just enjoy and embrace this lifestyle. Now, if you really I believe, if you really embrace this lifestyle and it's part of you, even if you're eating cooked, you're going to naturally get a lot more raw, very raw, during the summertime. It just feels right, no matter, it's not a matter of me saying I'm raw or I'm cooked. It's just like, yeah, it's hot, this type food is sluggish, it brings me down. But in general, I'm not going to ever stress over that, and I'm not even going to give you an answer on that other than, yes, I feel better, a little bit better when I'm doing a really clean, completely raw diet. But if we're talking about, I'm having sweet potatoes once a week, once every couple of weeks, twice a week, that's not really a big difference. But even for people, and like I say, I always like to go back to him. He's a great example. One of my, well, she doesn't do as many videos, and they don't actually do that many videos anymore, but Plant-Based Athlete and Banana Blondie, they eat cooked food, and I consider them to be two of the healthiest, most well-balanced people out there, because Jay, he's very active, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt, he competes in world championships and stuff, and that's what he does. He actually puts out a lot of good science on this, like Esselstyn and Dr. Greger and whatever. And he eats cooked food. He eats cooked food. He eats plenty of cooked food, but he keeps it like in that Esselstyn type, that mentality. No oil, lower fat. I think he keeps the sodium down too, but I wish Jay would post more stuff on his food, because I've always looked at his food and go, yeah, Jay eats really well. He eats very different from me. Not sure that my body would react like his, but then again, he's an athlete. He's rolling, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, rolling all the time. So yeah, let's just be happy and healthy on this plant-based diet and not worry so much about the raw versus the cooked. But while our summer's here, just go with it. Go for, if you are a cook, if you eat cooked all the time, try to be more raw during the summer, because it just is good. There's a lot of fresh stuff out there. I'm hoping to cut a cantaloupe tomorrow. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.